It's taken almost 30 years to find out how a crush at a UK football match at Hillsborough left 96 people dead. Now, a jury has concluded that the fans were unlawfully killed and that errors by the police were responsible for their deaths. Well, after the disaster in 1989, the police blamed Liverpool Football Club fans for what happened, but their families have long campaigned for the police to be held responsible. Let's go to TRT World's Jon Brain, who is outside the courtroom where the jury delivered those conclusions. This is a great result for the victim families who've waited so long for this, haven't they?
They certainly have, Mylene, more than a quarter of a century, and it was exactly the verdicts that they'd hoped for all these years, that the police had unlawfully killed their loved ones, and just as importantly for them, that the fans had nothing to do with the tragedy. They say that was just as important a finding. The jury also decided that police and emergency response generally wasn't adequate, that more people could have been saved if that had been quicker once the disaster had happened. Well, there were extraordinary scenes here outside the court after those verdicts were delivered. The relatives came out and they cheered and they started singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," which is a song which has been made famous by the fans of Liverpool Football Club. The emotion was very clear. Many were in tears, and they've been giving their reaction over the past few minutes, saying that this feels like victory after such a long struggle. It may not be the end of the story, though, because the findings of unlawful killing are so strong. That means there is now a possibility of a prosecution, a criminal prosecution for what happened at Hillsborough. So this is nearly the end, but it might not quite be the final chapter. But certainly for the families, this is what they've been waiting for so long.
And why has it taken so many years to come to this point?
Because the narrative has changed so substantially. When this happened, English football was known for its hooliganism. There'd been several incidents leading up to this, including a disaster at a stadium in Brussels where Liverpool fans had been rioting. So it was very easy for people to believe that the tragedy had been caused by the fans themselves. The police said that they'd been drunk, they'd caused the crush, and it took years for the real story to start emerging. It turned out that the police had fabricated statements afterwards. It emerged that a senior police officer had ordered that an exit gate be opened to allow fans in to relieve some of the congestion outside the stadium. But it took a long time for this all to come clear. And it was only a few years ago when a new Labour government decided that the original inquests should be open to scrutiny. Those inquests were quashed by a High Court and new inquests were ordered. Even then, we've had to wait 2 years for 2 years of evidence to get to the conclusions that they've reached today.
OK, Jon, many thanks for that. Jon Brain on the results of that Hillsborough trial.